Hey guys, so this is a response to Martymer81. He is a Skeptic YouTuber, but of the kind of old variety, I guess, like when they used to focus on science instead of this. I actually like a lot of Martymer's videos. He's a physics teacher. He's not just some dude who feels qualified for some reason to talk about matters of physics, even though he doesn't understand how a gyroscope works. But this latest video by Martymer on spirit science, a series of videos on health by spirit science, is not very good, and it's clearly due mostly to ignorance. He clearly doesn't know a whole lot about philosophy, animal ethics, veganism, nutrition, or New Age beliefs. And like so many of the skeptics, capital S, both on and off YouTube, he shows a palpable disdain for vegans.
According to you, eating animal products make you sick. But in the first ever episode of Spirit Science, you said this.
Illness is also a creation of yours. If you have a low immune system, it's because of you. Typically, we like to blame things on the virus going around or our own immune systems, but the way that we become susceptible to them is from inside, whether that there's some ongoing negative energy or some bad feeling that we allow into ourselves.
Now, I assume you're not gonna come out and say that you were wrong then, or that you're wrong now, so let me just ask, don't you ever get tired of contradicting yourself?
Look, I don't buy into this energy woo stuff at all, and I definitely don't like the it's your fault kind of mentality, but if you're going to criticize this, you really should make a better effort to understand it. Spirit Science made it pretty clear what he meant in one of the segments that you showed.
If an animal has been suffering and abused its entire life, when you eat it, all of that adrenaline, that fear, and that suffering now enters into your body and adds that trauma into your body of consciousness.
Lose the woo, Jordan.
You tell him to lose the woo, but this ignores the fact that this belief that emotional qualia are just as real as light and matter, that this is the foundation of his worldview. Jordan is woo, right? This is the foundation of a lot of people's worldview. This is one of the cornerstones of the New Age movement. And I don't see any contradiction here. If negative energies cause disease, as Spirit Science says, then it doesn't matter whether you are creating them yourself with bad emotions or you are taking them into your body by eating other animals saturated in bad emotions. You are literally filling yourself up with these negative energies when you eat meat. You are letting the bad feelings in, as he says in his original video. Again, I don't agree with this stuff, and I am all for criticizing his ridiculous beliefs, particularly the obviously harmful ones, like this and this.
It's actually illegal in most countries to treat cancer with nutrition therapy. There have been many physicians now speaking out about this at conferences, saying that they're only allowed to treat cancer with chemo, surgery, or radiation.
But his statements on negative energies clearly aren't contradictory. Could it be that you're looking for things to criticize here? Or maybe you're just what you accuse others of being, a dishonest asshole?
But I can't stand vegans of the religious variety who feel the need to be dishonest assholes about it.
I really don't understand why you feel the need to bring up veganism. Spirit Science doesn't say anything about it in the main video that you're responding to. He talks about plant-based, and the word vegan shows up briefly at about 5 minutes and 44 seconds, but that's it. He never talks about veganism. And in his follow-up video on meat and health, one of the videos that you're responding to, he makes it even clearer that he's not telling people to give up animal products completely, but to reduce their consumption. He basically tells people to do what's right for them.
Ultimately, you have to do what feels right for you.
You're right that he's cherry-picking data, but you can't possibly know his motivations for doing so. And there are plenty of people who eat plant-based or even vegan for health reasons only. Spirit Science does briefly talk about animal suffering, but it's only in the context of his negative energies theory. So basically, when we eat meat, it negatively affects us. So basically a health argument. So calling him a religiously motivated vegan, it just makes you look foolish. Like you have something against vegans. You don't seem to care much about animal suffering, given how you openly contradict yourself here.
But while we're on this subject, I feel the need to point out that I absolutely do not condone treating animals in this manner. Now, I eat meat, so obviously I condone killing animals for food.
But you aren't killing animals for food. You already had food. You condoned feeding that food to animals, thus reducing the food you have thanks to thermodynamics, and changing a small percentage of that food into something you think tastes better, for no other reason than culinary entertainment.
But I don't condone killing them for sport or entertainment or anything like that.
So you don't condone killing them for entertainment, except for the entertainment of taste pleasure. You have to see that that's a contradiction. I mean, you even took the time to add in a note arbitrarily excluding culinary entertainment. Look, I absolutely condone killing animals for food when it is necessary, and this is the case for a lot of people living in undeveloped countries where they just don't have the ability to obtain food from other means. But this is clearly not the case for you and me. Meat in the developed world is a drain on the global food supply, and grazing or growing extra grain for animals costs us valuable carbon-capturing wild space and farmland.
Neither the American Office of Health Promotion and Disease Prevention nor the Swedish National Food Agency explicitly recommend a vegetarian, much less vegan, diet. Their recommendations are based on peer-reviewed systematic reviews of the entire field of nutritional science. In other words, they did what you claim to be doing. They looked at all the data under the lens of science. Both groups recommend balanced, varied diets, and that meat should be consumed in moderation.
Just to clarify, there is a huge difference between recommending meat, eggs, and dairy as part of a healthy diet and saying that we need meat, eggs, and dairy to be healthy. Every major government and NGO health organization agrees that a properly planned vegan diet is nutritionally adequate and healthy for all stages of life. None of them are saying that we have to eat animal products to be healthy.
Again, red flag. It sounds to me like this Campbell fellow just wants to scare people into not eating meat. This couldn't have anything to do with him being on the advisory board of PCRM, could it?
And here you launch your own little conspiracy theory. Really, how is this any different from claims of big pharma bias? If you did just a little bit of research, you know that Campbell does not identify as vegetarian or vegan. He eats something like 99% plant-based. There's no indication that he cares about animals. The same can't be said for Barnard. He is an ethical vegan, and his best work has been in working against unnecessary animal experimentation and promoting alternative models for research through PCRM. Campbell joined the advisory board for PCRM long after he had already established himself as one of the go-to experts for plant-based nutrition. I don't agree with many of his conclusions, as I talk about often on this channel, but to allege some sort of ethical vegan conspiracy to lie for the animals, it just doesn't mesh with the facts when it comes to him or a lot of other plant-based doctors. People are perfectly capable of being biased for other reasons that have nothing to do with ethical or religious motivations. You might also question Barnard's work due to his biases, but he has done legitimate peer-reviewed studies, and there's no indication that he's knowingly dishonest. How is what you're doing here any different from discounting or casting doubt on an industry-funded study? Or really any study, since we're all a little bit biased. Maybe stick to science instead of waxing conspiracy theorists and speculating on people's secret motivations. It doesn't look good.
Its founder and president, Neil Barnard, MD, is also medical advisor to the radical animal rights group PETA. That's right, the guys who condone acts of terrorism in the name of animal liberation.
PETA does not condone terrorism, and if they ever did, they certainly don't now. I'm not a big fan of PETA for various reasons, this topic of my last video being a pretty good example. This is a large organization and they've done a lot of dumb things, and it's certainly possible that certain members of PETA have condoned terrorism in the past, but it's clear that as an organization, they oppose violence. Accusations of supporting terrorism are actually more damning of corruption within the US government than of PETA. There has been a lot of industry and lobbyist pressure on the government to crack down on organizations advocating against animal agriculture. The FBI improperly targeted Greenpeace, PETA, and 2 anti-war groups in domestic terrorism investigations between 2001 and 2006. The Inspector General found there was little or no basis for the terror investigations and that they were unreasonable and inconsistent with FBI policy. At least 2 of the investigations resulted in innocent people being placed on the domestic terror watch list for years. And 1 resulted in FBI Director Robert Mueller providing Congress with inaccurate and misleading information. Again, maybe stick to the science. You made some good points when you actually address the claims being made, like correlation isn't always causation, and that major health authorities who have looked at all the data with the expertise to interpret it are the most important sources. I think your video is another example of why people need to stick to their area of expertise. This is a huge problem within the skeptic community. Many skeptics seem to think that skeptic equals knower of all things for some reason. And so you get people like this trying to explain why evolution is a thing without understanding basic facts about evolution.
And then eventually animals developed from plants.
Not that I'm comparing you to Armored Skeptic or any of the other YouTube skeptics who have slowly but surely morphed into right-wing conspiracy theorists. Again, I enjoy a lot of your videos, but just because you've responded to a boatload of spirit science videos in the past doesn't mean that you have to respond to every claim he makes. If you aren't familiar with the topic, it's best to avoid commenting on it. Thank you so much, everybody. I have thought about doing my own response to spirit science, to those videos on health. There are 3 or 4 of them. Let me know if you're interested in that. I have talked about a lot of that stuff in various videos, but I don't have it all in one place really, so I don't know, that might be interesting. Let me know if that's something you would like. It would probably be a very long video. I say that like that's a new unexpected thing for this channel. Anyway, thank you so much, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one. Comments and questions down below. If you want to subscribe, that's totally cool. If you want to support the channel, you can do so at patreon.com/unnaturalvegan. Thank you again, and I will have a new video very soon. Could it be that you're just looking for things